Hello and welcome to TVB News. Hong Kong stocks tumbled to a near 6-month low as a widening U.S.-China trade and technology dispute added to already weak sentiment around U.S. debt ceiling negotiations. The Hang Seng Index lost 1.9% to 18,746 points, with tech stocks including Tencent, Alibaba and Meituan leading the decline. The sell-off in tech shares has accelerated recently on concerns over an escalating Sino-U.S. dispute on technology, broadening a long-standing trade dispute between the two powerhouse economies. Earlier this week, a U.S. lawmaker urged the U.S. Commerce Department to put trade curbs on Chinese memory chip maker Shangxing. This comes after Beijing's ban on the sale of some chips by U.S.-based Micron. Adding to the gloom, Japan plans to tighten controls on chip exports to China.
I think in the short term, the Hang Seng Index maybe is still facing the selling pressure. Maybe test the downward level near to 18,000 to 18,200 point level. If you wait and see some factor, maybe wait for their discount, and the liquidity maybe still wait and see in the short term.
Cathay Pacific CEO Ronald Lam has issued a letter to all staff members explaining why the management fired 3 flight attendants accused of making discriminatory comments about passengers. He said the move is aimed at protecting the company and the well-being of staff members. Sharon Tang reports.
More action taken by the Cathay Pacific management over comments made by aircrew members about non-English speaking passengers during a recent flight from Chengdu to Hong Kong. In an internal message written by Ronald Lam, the CEO said the incident has caused significant damage to the image of Hong Kong and Cathay, and the company must act swiftly. He reminded all staff members have the duty to make customers feel respected and valued, regardless of their backgrounds. Lam added the inappropriate comments made by the 3 crew members have reflected unfairly on the professionalism that the rest of Cathay has been upholding. He also said the incident has reinforced a perception held by some customers that Cathay has not been able to provide quality service to customers consistently. In other words, they believe this is about more than this single incident, but is something much deeper which we need to address, he added. Meanwhile, Cathay's Flight Attendants Union has expressed regret towards the sacking of the 3 colleagues. It also said colleagues are now living under fear following online calls to taunt and film aircrew members in flight. Addressing that issue, Cathay said it does not accept the union's stance, adding that it does not represent Cathay, but it will communicate with staff members directly. And there are also some comments saying the flight attendants in question were only making the comments in private instead of saying it directly towards customers. That, as the recording that went viral online is believed to have taken place when the aircrew members were chatting at the galley during the flight. The Equal Opportunities Commission said today that, too, constitutes discrimination. Chairman of the Commission, Ricky Chu, said whether the comments were directly spoken to a customer may not be a factor. That's because the comments were heard by the public that essentially is an unwelcoming environment which may also fall into the scope of hurting or harassing. Sharon Tang, TVB News.
In the U.S., Florida Governor Ron DeSantis suffered a chaotic start to his 2024 presidential election race. Glitches marred an online forum that was meant to showcase DeSantis' fitness for the job. The Twitter broadcast of the hour-long interview lost sound for extended stretches, and thousands of users were either unable to join or were dropped. This report from NBC News.
Tonight, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis announcing his run for president in this new ad.
We need the courage to lead and the strength to win. I'm Ron DeSantis, and I'm running for president to lead our great American comeback.
But his new campaign also hitting a major technical snag, with so many listeners tuning in for an audio announcement on Twitter Spaces with billionaire Elon Musk that it appeared to crash the site.
All right, sorry about that. We've got so many people here that I think we are we are kind of melting the servers.
DeSantis now seen as Republican frontrunner, former President Trump's toughest opponent. Just 5 years ago, Trump's endorsement critical to DeSantis' victory in his first run for governor. He even touted it in this campaign ad with his kids.
Make America great again.
But the relationship later souring after DeSantis' landslide re-election win. He now argues he's the best pick to take on President Biden.
We must reject the culture of losing that has infected our party in recent years.
And stood for what was right.
Tonight, new details about how a pro-DeSantis super PAC plans to do it. A staggering $200 million operating budget that includes hiring more than 2,600 field organizers by Labor Day. But DeSantis still trails Trump by more than 25 points in many polls. Now, in the state both men call home, a scramble for GOP primary voters. We met Trump supporter Monique Pope, an attorney and mother of two.
I believe President Trump is the man that can bring us across the finish line.
While DeSantis backer Robert Salvador told us he moved his construction software business from Illinois to Florida because the governor removed COVID restrictions early.
You know, we saw his leadership during COVID when everyone was yelling at him, you know, across the country and around the world to shut down.
Welcome back. The giant rubber duck is back in Hong Kong waters a decade after its debut in the city. This time around, there are two of them. They tested out the waters in Qingyi this morning. Veronica Lin reports.
The rubber duck is back, this time with an extra companion. This year's exhibition, titled Double Ducks, will feature two inflatables standing at 18 meters tall, among the tallest in the world. This morning, they departed from a dockyard in Qingyi and swam for around 2 hours against the backdrop of Ting Kao Bridge and Tsingma Bridge. The ducks were masterminded by Dutch artist Florentin Hoffman, and from 2007 onwards, they've been exhibited in Australia, Brazil, and more. It first made an appearance in Victoria Harbour in 2013 and stayed for several months. It was seen by close to 8 million people, capturing the attention of local residents and tourists alike and prompting a wave of selfie fever. The sole inflatable duck was slightly shorter than the new ones, standing at only 16.5 meters tall. Hoffman was present at the opening ceremony. During its first day in Hong Kong, it had once lost air and deflated, but was quickly fixed and swam in the harbor again. Organizers, All Rights Reserved, said Hong Kong will be the first stop and that more details will be disclosed on June 1st. They hope to inspire the public through the artist's freewheeling imagination and childlike wonder. Veronica Lin, TVB News.
Meantime, the government has announced public holiday arrangements for next year. The Lunar New Year's Day for 2024 will fall on Saturday, February 10th. Employees can take 4 consecutive days off until February 13th. However, a compensatory day is only given for the second day of the Lunar New Year, which falls on a Sunday, and not for Saturday's New Year's Day. Workers will have an opportunity to combine public holidays to create long breaks for themselves. For instance, if they ask for an additional 2 days off, they can enjoy a week off from March 29th to April 4th during Easter and Qingming Festival. City University opened a milk shop on its campus today. The milk comes from the 24 pregnant Jersey cows that arrived at the City Farm in Taipo last year. Mimo Singai with more.
This is the City U's newly opened milk shop, selling its signature products, milk from Jersey cattle. Last year, 24 pregnant Jersey cows were imported from Australia and placed in the university's farm. The aim of the project is not only to provide some freshly produced milk daily for the university's members, but also to train veterinary students on how to take care of animals. Why were Jersey cows chosen then? Farm manager of the university, Errol Dunn, said it is because of the climate in Hong Kong.
In Hong Kong's climate, they're very heat tolerant and more heat tolerant than very high producing Holstein.
Speaking on how much milk a day the cattle can produce, Dunn said current peak production is 550 litres per day, while only 100 or 200 litres can be produced when it gets to November. In response to concerns from some animal rights groups about the welfare of the cows and questions on farm enslavement, Professor Vanessa Barr said the university is following a set of international standards for teaching animals.
There are actually international standards on welfare around the use of all kinds of animals in teaching. So we have very strict records and we record whenever a cow takes part in any teaching activity and they're certainly not overused. So our cattle are very happy, they're very healthy.
While there's currently only one type of product at the shop, the university said ice cream will soon be available to buy. Mimos 9, TVB News.
Guam officials say the worst is over for the island's 150,000 residents after Super Typhoon Mawar lashed the area with 225 km/h winds. The Category 4 storm tore down trees, walls, power lines, and flipped cars. But the residents of Guam remained largely safe as they hunkered down overnight. Slow-moving Mawar was the strongest typhoon to hit the island since 2002. According to officials, all but 1,000 of the island's 52,000 homes and businesses lost power, but the government reported nothing unusual in hospital emergency rooms, and there was only moderate flooding. After the storm passed, Guam's Office of Civil Defense issued a bulletin warning people that the highest state of alert remained in effect. The storm is expected to move generally northwest, and it could threaten Taiwan next week. That's the news. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the long weekend.